Hi, I'm Mr. Huber, and in this video we're going to talk about exercise 9A2. Look, before I do that, I would like to come back to the unit circle. I talked about it in the last video. It's just this circle with radius 1, but now we're working with the radian measure. We're not working in degrees anymore. Well, let me explain this. Well, the circumference of a circle is 2 pi r. The circumference of this unit circle, let's for the moment label it C1, is 2 pi times 1. It's just 2 pi. That's your full rotation. So then you can say 2 pi corresponds to a full rotation 360 degrees. That means pi is in fact 180 degrees. So 2 pi is the circumference of the whole circle. So pi is the circumference of half a circle. So please do not use an equal sign. It means 2 pi is corresponds to 360 degrees. And you could say 2 pi rad for radian measure is 360 degrees. But oftentimes we don't do this. We just leave the rad and we just write 2 pi knowing that it's the radian measure. Okay, so we'll leave it at this. Now look, pi halves is obviously or corresponds to 90 degrees. Pi quarters corresponds to 45 degrees. Okay, so pi halves is the length of this part. It's 90 degrees. Pi quarters is the length of this arc. Now we could say pi over 3. Well, if you divide pi by 3, it's 180 divided by 3. That's 60 degrees. Okay? And pi over 6, that corresponds to 30 degrees. So you can set up a table, and this table is quite important. You have to keep this in mind. So you have your angles alpha and your radian measure here. Here we go. And 0 degrees is obviously 0. The length of the arc of 0 degrees is 0. Then if you go to 30 degrees, that will be pi over 6. The arc length is pi over 6. If you go up to 45 degrees, that will be pi over 4. Then you go up to 60 degrees, that's pi over 3. 90 degrees, that's pi over 2. Then 180, that's just pi. And the full rotation, full turn, is 2 pi. Okay? It's quite important to keep this in mind. You'll see why when we talk about the exercise. Even if you work with larger angles, these come in very handy, and you should know these by heart. Okay, let's have a look at the exercise. Pi quarters, well, that's very easy. Unit circle, 1, 1, x, y. Pi quarters is in fact 45 degrees, so it will be here. Sorry, it's again not a perfect circle. Pi thirds, we've just seen that too. That's pi is 180 degrees, so pi thirds is 60 degrees, so it's more or less something like this. 1, 1. Please make hand sketches. 4 pi thirds, that's 4 times pi thirds. Well, pi thirds is 60 degrees, so 4 times 60 degrees is obviously 240 degrees. So let's have a unit circle. So this is 180 plus, this is 3 times pi thirds if you want, plus 1 time pi thirds, so you will be here. So it's in fact 240 degrees, but well, we're talking about this arc length. Okay, so please keep this in mind. This arc length here is pi quarters. This arc length is pi thirds. And this arc length here in red is 4 pi thirds, which corresponds to 240 degrees. So it's in fact 180 degrees plus 60 degrees. Here, 3 pi quarters, well, that's 3 times pi quarters. Well, pi quarters is 45 degrees. So this is in fact 135 degrees. Okay, so this is 90 plus another 45 you're out here. So this is 135 degrees. So that means this arc length here is 3 pi quarters. Now, minus pi thirds, as before, this is now clockwise. The above exercises were anti-clockwise or counterclockwise. So here, a unit circle. Minus pi thirds, that's minus 60 degrees. So that point lives down here, minus 60 degrees. So the point is here, 1, 1 on the unit circle. So this is in fact minus pi thirds. Again, clockwise. Minus pi sixths, that's minus 30 degrees, corresponds to minus 30 degrees. So 1, 1, minus 30 degrees is approximately here. So minus 30 degrees. So that means this arc length here is minus pi over 6. Now the last two, very easy, minus 2 pi. So you have your unit circle. Minus 2 pi is minus 1 full turn. Here we go. 1 full turn. That means when you start here, it's minus 1 full turn. You're here. And this is in fact minus 2 pi. Now minus 4 pi, you already know what that's going to be. That's minus 2 full turns. So here we go, minus 1 full turn and the second one, and you're here again. So you go around the circle once, and then you go around it once again, and this will be minus 4 pi, but you'll end up here. I hope this wasn't too difficult. See you in the next one.